So today we're going to talk about the back angle in the squat. Anytime that you're standing with all of your joints fully extended, you're not creating any angles. As soon as you start to bend from any of your joint segments, so when you start to flex at the hips, flex at the knees, flex at the ankles, you start to create a series of angles. We're just going to talk about the back angle today, which is the one that's created by a function of creating flexion in the hips. So anytime that you reach your hips back, you're creating an angle in the back relative to the floor. It's really important to understand that that is a function of hip flexion. It's not a function of you moving your back. It just happens when you bend at the hip, you start to form an angle. Now that angle might be more vertical or more horizontal depending on a couple of things. The first is which is your individual anthropometry, so the length of your segments. If you have a short torso, you might not be as leaned over, you might be more vertical than someone who has a longer torso. And the same might apply to having long femurs, short femurs, long tib fibs, etc. So your individual segments might determine how much you lean over or don't lean over in a squat. The other thing that's going to determine how much you lean over, how vertical or horizontal your back angle is the type of squat that you do. So depending on where the bar is placed, whether it be in a front rack in a front squat, on your traps as in a high bar squat, or lower on your back in a low bar squat, that is also going to determine how much you do or do not lean over. The reason that is it's a function of balance. So you want to be able to move the bar, no matter what kind of squat you're doing, in a straight vertical line over the middle of your foot. Anything that is not in a straight vertical line over the middle of your foot is both inefficient and out of balance, and so we're not going to do that. So the first squat that we're going to look at, the one that has the most vertical angle, is actually the front squat. So I'm going to have Alex demonstrate that. And you'll notice the bar is on front of him, or in front of him, and he's going to go ahead and squat down, and I just want you to take a look at the back angle that he has. So you can see that his back angle is really vertical, and it's almost, his chest is almost pointing towards the wall on that one. So when he initiates his squat, the angle created by his back relative to the floor, it's a very open angle. It's closer to 90 degrees. Okay. The next kind of squat that we're going to talk about is one where he's going to be slightly more horizontal than that one, which is the high bar squat, which is a squat where the bar is placed on top of the traps. Okay, this is probably the kind of squat that most of you do. He'll go ahead and squat down. You'll notice that his back angle is a little bit more horizontal than it was in the front squat, but not a whole lot. Relative to the floor. So where the front squat was closer to 90 degrees to the floor, this one was just a little bit more horizontal. Now the third kind of squat, and the one that has the most horizontal back angle, will be the low bar squat. He'll go ahead and stand up with that. This is a squat where the bar is placed just underneath the spine of the scapula, so opposite your collarbone behind you. And in this one, he's going to lean over quite a bit in order to keep the bar over the middle of his foot. Yeah, you'll notice that this back angle is much more horizontal than it was in his front squat. Okay. So you'll notice that as you move the bar down your back, and you would imagine if we moved the bar further down his back, he would have to lean over more and more in order to keep it over the middle of his foot. Now the low bar position is the lowest that we're going to be able to keep and hold the bar on your back, so we're not actually going to move it any lower than that. But it's essentially like a geometry situation. So you're just looking at where is the bar on your back, what are the individual segments, and what do you need to do in order to keep it balanced over the middle of your foot. So that's it for back angle and squat. Let us know if you have any questions about that.